Then the flock of monster birds came at me like dive bombers, screaming through the air as they swarmed down from all sides. I raised my right claw and smashed the first bone bird to pieces with one slap. Then a cold, raspy voice suddenly rang out. "It's useless. As long as the soul survives, the bones will never run out." I jerked my head up. Behind the flock of bone birds, on a floating throne built entirely out of skulls, sat a humanoid creature in a tattered black robe. In his hand was a staff set with a massive green gem. The undead lord, the Lich Saza. The Lich let out a chilling laugh. "I thought you were just some ordinary drake. Didn't expect a mutated fire-true dragon hatchling. Your skeleton will be the finest piece in my collection." With a wave of his staff, the bone bird fragments I had just smashed actually reassembled in midair and came back even sharper and more savage. I narrowed my eyes. No wonder this place was called a forbidden zone for the living. For ordinary magical beasts that only knew how to bite and brawl, an enemy like this was basically an unbeatable nightmare. But I smiled. Soul, huh? I ignored the bone birds raining down on me and even dropped my guard, letting those razor-sharp bone blades scrape across my armor in bursts of sparks. I slowly opened my mouth, but this time no red magma was surging up from deep in my throat. Instead, a sacred glow flared to life. That was Yulong's primal flame of time, the absolute nemesis of every undead spirit. "Then have a taste of soul barbecue." The Lich instantly screamed. "What kind of fire is this?" The magic shield he was so proud of melted away in the golden light. His soul was being seized by that tyrannical force and ripped out of his skeleton by force. The bone birds attacking me nearby also dropped back into lifeless bones. I sprang up in one leap. That massive soul, equal to a human 5th-tier mage, was swallowed whole by me. A feeling I'd never experienced before hit me. Unlike the fullness and burning heat that came from devouring flesh, this time it was a cool mental storm rushing straight to my head. In that instant, my brain felt like it was being torn apart and rebuilt. Centuries of necromancy knowledge the Lich had accumulated, his techniques for using mental power, even the secrets hidden deeper in this tomb, all turned into fragmented memories and were crammed straight into my mind. More importantly, I had gained a new power, necromancy. I looked at the giant mammoth skeleton at my feet. "Rise," I whispered, "get up!" That enormous skeleton, asleep for who knew how many years, actually started moving shakily but for real. 2 faint golden soul fires lit up in its eye sockets. That was the soul fire I had given it. A little fragile, but pretty good for cannon fodder and scouting ahead. I nodded in satisfaction. Then I looked up at the ruined fortress at the edge of the wasteland. What used to be the mysterious entrance to floor 30 for me now held no secrets at all. A human slave-catching squad was stationed there now. I pulled in my aura completely. Because from the clearing 500 meters ahead, I heard human voices. And it wasn't the noisy shouting of ordinary adventurers, but low, clipped commands mixed with the sound of machinery in motion. I clung to the canopy of a giant tree over 300 feet tall and looked down. What I saw made my pupils shrink instantly. It was a temporary camp. In the center of the camp stood a massive, adamant cage carved with golden runes. Dozens of knights in silver armor were patrolling around it. The Dragon Slayer Mercenary Corps. This was one of the most infamous and most powerful hunting groups in the human world. They didn't kill ordinary monsters. They specialized in hunting draconic species. And rumor had it they had even taken down a true pure-blood dragon before. And inside that massive cage, there was a creature imprisoned. It was an emerald land drake. It was only 5 or 6 meters long, its whole body covered in crystal-clear green scales like jade. It was beautiful, but right now, she was being tortured in a way no one should endure. A middle-aged man in a white silk robe stood in front of the cage. In his hand was a staff glowing with a soft white light. A merciful smile hung on his face. He gently pressed the staff against the land dragon's belly. That soft white light wasn't healing it. It was burning it. That was highly concentrated holy light. To anything with a dark attribute or a beast-type body, it was like dumping acid on bare skin. The soft scales on the land dragon's belly were instantly scorched black. The land dragon convulsed in agony. Good, keep that pain going. The priest nodded in satisfaction. Then he turned to an assistant holding a crystal vial and said, "Fear and pain bring out the dragon blood's potency the most. The blood quality right now is top tier. Hurry!" The assistant immediately jammed a tube into the dragon's freshly rotted wound. Crimson dragon blood flowed out through the tube, filling the crystal vial. And on the other side of the camp, there was a pile of all kinds of loot. Stripped dragon hide, smashed dragon eggs, and even several dismembered drake corpses. A few guys dressed like cooks were tossing them into pots to cook. Dragon meat soup tonight. This trip was totally worth it. This emerald dragon is a mutant breed. If we take it back to the Imperial Capital's auction house, it'll sell for at least 5 million gold coins. I heard it's got eggs in its belly too. Buy one, get one free. Up in the treetops, I quietly watched that emerald land dragon. The look in its eyes reminded me of that earth dragon mother. That helpless look, still hanging on for the child in her belly. I slowly let out a heavy breath. I burst out in an instant, killed the assistant, then grabbed the crystal vial filled with dragon blood and chugged it in one go. The dragon blood, packed with pain and fear, hit my stomach and turned into a surge of burning heat. I licked my lips. That bitter taste sent the killing intent in my eyes straight through the roof. That was when everyone finally snapped out of it. Enemy attack! The knights around us reacted fast, drawing their swords and closing in instantly, dozens of battle aura lights locking onto me. I, on the other hand, calmly opened the cage. The emerald drake looked at me in terror. I hadn't lied. Then I turned around and stood in front of her. Facing the humans outside, who were already scared stiff, I said, "Then watch closely and see how I send this trash to meet their lord." 1 minute later, the 32 elite members of the Dragon Slayer Saints mercenary group had already become 32 shriveled corpses. I stood inside that massive adamantine cage. The emerald drake I had saved was lying on the ground. Looking at this monster reeking of blood and radiating terrifying dragon pressure, her instincts told her to submit, but deep in her eyes, there was still a trace of a mother's caution. She shielded her swollen belly. I looked at her and said, "Don't be scared." I raised one finger, and a drop of golden red essence blood formed at the tip. This wasn't ordinary blood. This was imperial blood carrying a trace of the Zhulong's origin. "Open your mouth," I ordered. The drake didn't dare disobey. Trembling, she opened her mouth, and that drop of imperial blood flew into it. The land drake's once rotting abdominal wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Its dull green scales burst with a dazzling emerald glow, and its body swelled by a whole size in an instant. Its aura broke straight through Tier 2, and stepped into the ranks of Tier 3 monsters. More importantly, the egg in her belly let out a strong heartbeat. The moment it came into contact with royal blood, that was a future draconic beast. From floor 30 downward, all the way to floor 50, I had already cleared everything out. I turned around and stopped looking at her. "That's your territory. Take your child there. As long as I'm not dead, the monsters below won't dare act up." Soon I arrived at the goblin maze on floor 20. It was a massive underground city, made of countless abandoned gears, steam pipes, and traps. "Warning! High-energy target detected!" The shrill mechanical voice echoed across the maze overhead. Tens of thousands of mutated goblins piloted their crude steam mechs and stared in terror at the deep red dot on the radar screen. That dot was moving way too fast, like a streak of red lightning. It ignored the maze completely, drilling straight upward through the walls. "Fire! Open fire now!" The Goblin King screamed. Countless rusty shells, poison gas canisters, and even goblin suicide drones. It came crashing down at that red figure like a tidal wave. A low shout came from within the red blur. Then a crimson pillar of fire shot up, piercing heaven and earth. In an instant, it melted open a passage nearly 100 meters wide. A lava tunnel leading straight to the upper level. I didn't even slow down. I was like a meteor charging upstream, smashing through everything in my way. The 10th floor was a trial ground, a buffer zone built by the human nations to train young knights. Today was supposed to be the graduation trial day for the Holy Empire's Royal Knight Academy. Hundreds of young nobles in shining silver armor, riding tall war horses, were hunting a group of low-level skeleton soldiers under their instructor's command. "What is that?" A young female knight suddenly pointed toward the abyss and cried out. Everyone looked up. The entrance to the abyss, which had been pitch black just moments ago, was now glowing with a strange dark red light. A suffocating wave of heat, mixed with the trembling of the earth, came surging up from deep underground. "Fall back now!" The instructor's face changed instantly, and he waved his flag frantically. Too late, the ground split apart. I burst out from underground in a single leap. The moment I landed, that massive shockwave sent every person and horse within 100 meters flying, but I didn't attack them. I coldly looked over these so-called human elites, then shook my head. So this is the last stop before the surface? I looked up. About 1,000 meters above me, a massive blue glowing magic circle was floating in the air. The Abyss Seal, the Gate of Sighs. That was the absolute defense humans and dragons built together to stop dungeon beasts from breaking out onto the surface. They said even a 6th tier Lord class beast would be wiped out instantly if it slammed into it. At the center of the magic circle hung a giant dragon fang. It was a real, true dragon's tooth, serving as the core of the formation, radiating an overwhelming pressure that suppressed countless living creatures below. Looking at that fang, I smiled. Ao Kyung, I know that aura. The current Dragon Emperor Ao Kyung's tooth. You really thought you could lock me down here and let me rot? The bone wings on my back beat hard, and my body slowly rose into the air. As I climbed higher, the air around me started to warp. The knights on the ground just stared in shock. If you were going to give birth to me, then why throw me away? And if you threw me away, why not just kill me? My speed exploded to the limit in an instant. I didn't use any technique at all. I just drove my head straight into that Dragon Emperor's fang in the sky. "Open up. I'm back, so wash your neck and wait for me."